ego consciousness, God consciousness. What's the difference? I wanted to challenge myself today. I've been learning a lot of higher spiritual stuff, and I'm yet to talk about it on this channel and on my content overall, just because I didn't really truly feel like I could. Honestly, I didn't feel like I had enough information. But recently I read in a book that I've been reading, The Eye of the I by David Hawkins, that if I truly believe God's within, and I truly believe God is just my creator, then the information that I need to do anything will just magically appear. And so we'll give it a shot. I did try this earlier, but I think I was trying too hard. I just didn't let myself flow. So I'm gonna let go, I'm gonna let God, and let's get this thing started. I first wanted to start off by highlighting the facts about the ego. I first wanted to start off, I keep saying this, I just said the same thing twice. I wanted to start off just, what is this ego? Why is it clouding our reality? And the different illusions, different perceptions it has that's stopping us from revealing this true reality, the divinity reality, the God reality that he has for us. Now, this ego, it likes to control, it likes to predict, and it likes to survive, all right? The controlling factor, it likes to control outcomes. It likes to, this is mine, that's mine, this is mine. It creates attachments. The predicting part, it likes to look into the future, or maybe even look into the past, sort of, and try to, again, control and predict outcomes, or predict opportunities, or predict how something would go. And it makes us live in our head. One thing the ego loves is when we live in our head. And then number 3 is survival. The desires, the wants, literally it's just wants. Whenever we can let go of wanting things and just understanding that God will provide everything we need and want, then there's no more trying to survive. It thinks we want, like, I don't know, it gets scared for like day-to-day things. But yeah, it likes to cling on to things. It likes to make you live in your head. And that's why it's a whole different reality. It's a whole different perception. And it likes to believe there's a cause and effect. It's called causality. Literally just believing that if this causes that. When in reality, everything's happening simultaneously. That's what's happening in God's reality, right? Now, whatever I'm saying right now, it could be out of the ordinary. It could be, what are you talking about? I want you to take a step back, all right? And take a step back in this recent week, recent month, and have you been living in your head? Have you been trying to control outcomes? Have you been trying to predict different things? Have you been living inside of here? And the way you can tell is by when you are stressed out, when you are overthinking, when you're having those negative feelings of fear, of anger, of pride. What stems from it? What triggers it? What continues you to have you inside that? I believe any negative emotion is what creates this ego. It creates this illusion that everything is imperfect, that we are doing our own thing, right? That's one thing the ego believes. Like I just said, everything's happening simultaneously. The same way this plane's flying above me, the same way this tree is still giving out oxygen, the same way cars are still driving past me. At the same time, God's controlling everything. But what the ego likes to do, it likes to take credit for everything that's happening. It likes to believe that, oh, because I just threw this punch, that it's going to go into a ripple effect and cause a tornado in 3 years. Obviously, that's really extreme. But it believes like there's little cause and effects. It believes if I were to do this, then that would happen. And it's just error. You know, it's not what this reality truly has for us. And because of this causality, it creates this cause and effect inside our head. Okay, if I put so much effort, so much force, so much stress about this certain subject, then this might happen. Or because this person didn't like me, then I didn't get what I want. It creates problems inside of our heads when in reality, if it wasn't meant for us, it didn't happen for a reason, you know? And it always likes to give it reasons. It always likes to use logic. It always likes to use sort of that science-based stuff where there's logic, there's reason. I just said the same thing. And it's really, really limited. It can't comprehend what God has for us because it gets scared. Okay, that's why we always fight. When God says, "Be still and know that I am God," a lot of us fight it. You know, we always wonder, like, we unconsciously fight being present. We unconsciously fight being still because if we believe, if we don't stress, if we don't overthink, if we don't try to control, predict, and survive, that we'll fall apart. That everything won't go well. that God won't take care of everything, right? And it's very common. And when I mean very common, I mean like 95%, 90% of this world is in there. Like that's in that ego mind of trying to control, trying to predict, trying to survive, and believing that they are the reason they're alive right now. And now, it's a hard thing to argue because a lot of people are like, okay, well, if I'm not doing anything, then what's doing it? I can give you this best analogy I got. If you want to take it, you can take it. If not, I understand. We're all created in God's image. I believe that's universally agreed, at least for most, right? We have free will, but I believe that we're all created in God's image, right? But we have consciousness, right? We're conscious. The tree isn't conscious. This wood isn't conscious. This water is not conscious. But we have consciousness. And in this pool of consciousness, honestly, it was pretty much consciousness itself created this duality sort of viewpoint where there is evil, where there is emptiness, where there is dark, okay? What I mean by that is when something, for instance, the dark example, when the light is on, there's light, there's onness, let's call it that. But when the light's off, we call it off. When in reality, there's no such thing as an off. That's all created in our mind. That's a positionality as what the ego likes to create, okay? Finally, I'm starting to flow. And so instead of saying that something is off, it just lacks that on. It doesn't have electricity. That's all it is. It's not off. And so that so for instance, like light and dark. When there's light present. When there's dark, when it's quote unquote dark, there's just no light. Darkness isn't in itself its own thing because light exists. Light is what creates darkness, because without light, then it's dark. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's sort of how you can differentiate this duality thing. But you can look back at the Adam and Eve story. When Eve bit into the apple, that's when the duality started, and that's when everything started to fluctuate. But in the reality of God and what God has for us, that everything is perfect, everything is good, everything is what it is, then we can begin to let go of these positionalities inside of our heads. I'm going to explain to you guys quickly what positionality I'm talking about. Positionalities are just limitations created by the mind. It's imaginary. It's not real. And so, evil, for example, fear, any negative emotion, any negative thought, stress, anxiety, overthinking, it's all just positionalities. It's all just stuff creating inside of our head that the ego likes to thrive off of. And what the ego likes to do, it likes to get little payoffs. The payoffs could be very, very, very sneaky, okay? When, for instance, we have this duality, we're living in this duality world. Well, we're not, but most people do. And they believe this person is bad, okay? So they shame this person. And so they shame this person for being bad. I hate this person. He shouldn't be doing this, yada, yada, yada. When in reality, that person himself, let's say the person's name is DJ. DJ, he's just a limited person. He has his own positionalities. He's just limited, and he doesn't have God fully with him. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why he's like that. That's just it is what it is. And if we can take a step back and realize, like, okay, he's just a limited person. We don't have to shame him and put him down. We could just learn to accept and forgive and love who he is, even though maybe he is a quote-unquote bad person. Then life becomes a lot more peaceful. We really truly can step into what God has for us. And there's no more dualistic standpoint. It's just understanding, loving, letting go. And I think that's what helps us live in this non-dualistic thing, non-dualistic world where there is a good or bad, there is a right or wrong. That's also another thing. There's so many different things, and it gets pretty tricky. But a strong way we can continue to remember, the strongest way I found to dissolve this ego is by living in this present moment, right? Now we're going to get into, I think I've already described what the ego is. I think I've described how it lives and how it views life. Now I want to step into how you can go into God's reality. the true reality that's within all of us. That's here, but we're just clouded by this ego. Why don't you think of this ego as like a pair of glasses, or like you can even think of it as clouds that cover the ultimate sun, God, and that we just can't see. So the more and more we dissolve this ego, the more and more sunlight and God's presence and peace and love and joy shines on us. Step number 1, being present. It dissolves, honestly, 90% of the ego's things, because when you are present, you're not thinking. You're just literally sitting here and enjoying what you have. When you are present, you're not trying to control or predict or survive, because, well, you're perfectly fine where you are. And that's one thing I want you to realize too. Everything is perfect the way it is. So be okay with it. Or love it even. So there's no need to stress. There's no need to overthink. There's no need to be anxious for things that might happen. Because again, when something might happen, it's just creating in your head. It's a positionality inside your head. It's a limitation inside your head that you're living in. So if you want to be unlimited, if you want to reveal this God, then just be open to what can happen. Be open to what God has for you. And what God has for you is this very moment. There is no future. There is no past. Everything is just now. That's the reality we live in. And I'm telling you, I know this might be hard to even listen. What are you saying? How does it make any sense? It took me a while. It took me a while to really accept that this is true. It took me a while to really believe that this God, this infinite, omnipotent being is inside of us, controlling who we are or what we do, what's around us. And another thing, one thing I want to tap into real quick is that you might be wondering, okay, well, if God is controlling us, if God is, dictating what we do, what we have, who we are, what we, etc., then what am I doing? Who am I? And that's a good question. If you didn't have that question, well, listen to the answer. We are not this body. We are not doing anything. Like I said before, the ego likes to take credit for things that we potentially do. But if we really were to, consciously do everything, pointing this finger up, I did that unconsciously. I'm doing this unconsciously. And it's doing it by itself. You don't have to manually think, all right, brain, send neuron, I don't know, whatever the heck, to lift up this thing. It just lifts up. The same way I can look here, look there. It's all just happening, right? And there's nothing I can control. Okay, there really isn't. Only thing I can control is where I put my awareness, my focus on. So if I put my focus on God's consciousness in this reality, in this present moment, then it will help me honestly speed my process to get to be who God wants me to be, and to fulfill the purpose I have within, to be the light that I know I am within. And so if I continue to live in this present moment, if I continue to dissolve this ego, dissolve this glasses, this lens of positionalities, of limitations, of trying to survive, control, and predict, then I can live in this fullness and wholeness and allness. I keep saying allness, fullness. It's just what they say. It's just that divinity within us, living in that divinative presence. I can live in that day in and day out and not have to worry about anything. There is no more negative emotions and such like that. And so that's what God's consciousness, the divine consciousness, is all about. Living in the present moment, letting go of those personalities, getting rid of the ego assumptions, getting rid of that ego lens inside of you, and just being in this present moment, knowing that you are going to be who you're meant to be. And when it comes to your desires, when it comes to who you think you need to be, etc., just assume that you're that person now and operate like that person. For instance, me, I want to be able to travel the world. I want to be able to record content on the side of beaches, on whatever, and just give value. I do want to travel the world. I want to provide for my family and stuff like that. So what I do is I assume I'm that person now, first off. So what I mean by assuming, who is this person? Who is this David? Does he feel free? Does he feel abundant? Does he feel successful? Does he feel like he really does change lives? Does he love himself? Does he do, all these different things? Don't worry about the doing part. It comes with it. I don't want to of course doing stuff is, giving your full effort to things is very important, but it's about being that person. It's about assuming that you're that person. And so I've taken these traits: freedom, success, wealth, health, abundance, and I'm that person now. Now I show up to the camera as if I am this wise person. I believe I'm wise as well. I believe I'm a follower of God. I believe that He is my creator, that I am part of Him. And so I step into that person every single day. I meditate. I keep dissolving this ego consciousness, this ego lens, taking it off of me, really living in this present moment, and enjoying what I have, enjoying who I am. And boom, that's how it is. That's the life. I'm going to continue to make more and more content about this, but I'm pretty happy about how this came out. I think I covered a lot of spots, a lot of topics. Another thing that just popped in my head was about the ego. It's really ignorant, it's really arrogant, and it believes that its way, is the best way, is the only way. So it's gonna fight what I just said. It's gonna fight. It's gonna say, no, I needed stress. No, I need to be anxious. No, I need to doubt. No, I need to have fear, or else this is gonna happen. Understand. Just try it. Let go for a week. All right. Let go for a week. I'm not saying don't do anything, but focus within. Focus within for a week. Be present for a week. Yes, still do your things. I'm still recording, but it's natural. It's unconscious. I go out here, I record, I make time for it, and it's done. I don't have to think. I don't have to use force. It's power. It's capital P, power. It's God guiding me. And the more and more we can reveal who we are, the more we can reveal this light within us, the more God can just take over, and the less we have to do. That's how you can live life on easy mode. I think I might title this video that. Who knows? I think I already have a title for that. I forget. But yeah, that's everything I got for you guys today. So, if you have any questions, I'm sure you do, please comment. Please hit me up on Instagram. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're most comfortable with. I would be very, 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 very happy to talk, because, again, the more I can teach this, the better I get at learning it, the better I imprint it inside of here, and the more value I can give to you guys. If you guys ask a question, maybe I can make a whole video off of it. And yeah, but one other thing is, when I am assuming these things, the things that I want, whether it's coaching clients, whether it's my community going on, whether it's living abroad, I just feel that within. I know that that's me within. I have the clients. I have the community popping. I'm living abroad. And I feel the freedom. I feel the peace. I feel the overall, this power. Not the power of, oh, I'm better. No, the power of God supporting me. And I live through that every single day. That's what I at least try to do. No, I don't try it. I am. That's who I am. And same thing with your stuff. Let go of those desires and just have it, and then live in this moment. Don't worry about when it's going to happen. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Trust in God's timing, and it will come through. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Again, if you have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'll leave it link down below. And God bless. Take care.